Introducing the Open Palm Podcast with host Jerome Shaw, available today on your favorite podcast platforms. The Open Palm Podcast is a positive, uplifting, motivational, and inspirational podcast. The host brings his insight and philosophy, and you can't help but gravitate towards his smile, his words, and his wisdom. Again, the podcast he hosts is titled The Open Palm Podcast. It's about inspirational messages, motivating themes, and thought-provoking ideas and topics. He'll also help you become more aware and in harmony with your own life, giving you a better understanding of your place in the world and using your skills accordingly, greeting the world with an open palm instead of a closed fist. You can find the show today on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and more. You can also connect with the host on Instagram at Jerome Shaw. That's JROMESHAW on Instagram. Jerome Shaw with the Open Palm Podcast. Motivation, meditation, mentality. Go listen, download, and subscribe today.
A renowned Zen master said that his greatest teaching was this: Buddha is your own mind. So impressed by how profound this idea was, one monk decided to leave the monastery and retreat to the wilderness to meditate on this insight. There, he spent 20 long years as a hermit, probing the great teaching. Buddha is your own mind. One day, he met another monk who was traveling through the forest. Quickly, the hermit monk learned that the traveler also had studied under the same master. "Please, tell me what you know of the master's greatest teaching." The traveler's eyes lit up. "Ah, the master has been very clear about this. He says that his greatest teaching is this: Buddha is not your own mind." What can we learn from this story? This ironic and maybe even tragic tale. The monk received a message and went to the forest, to the wilderness, to meditate for 20 years on this insight. Upon hearing later on another message from his same master that directly contrasted the first. To me, the story is saying that we must make up our own mind about what we hear. It is not what we hear that is important, but our interpretation, what we perceive of what we hear. Because anything that you hear is always going through a filter. We will only really be able to understand something from our own level of awareness, from our own level of perception. We cannot fully grasp an idea in its entirety, but we filter it through our own experiences, through our own thoughts. It is not what is important that what you hear, but what you believe. One's own mind is just that, not what someone else has said. We must make up our own minds. So, understand that we can interpret things according to our personality, according to our desires. And many people interpret the same message in totally different and sometimes totally opposite ways. Just like the second person in the story, the traveler, who interpreted what the master said completely differently and didn't have to retreat to the wilderness for 20 years as a hermit to understand. Even if there is a wise saying that is so profound that it is worth contemplating or meditating over, would you spend the better part of your life doing only this? One might say this is a worthy endeavor, even a noble endeavor. But when another thinks that life is too short, perhaps you can take what is said and take what you need for the moment, using it for your benefit, and not letting it bewilder you into a state of inaction. Many of us interpret things the way that we do, and it shapes the course of our entire lives. But the only thing we know for certain is that nothing is certain. Just as the Master said that Buddha is your own mind, he also said that Buddha is not your own mind. So the only thing we know for sure is nothing is sure. All is impermanence, nature. All is subject to change. Nothing is so static. Teachings change all the time. No matter how profound they may seem at the moment, we have to remain flexible to change as ideas change, which is a fact of life that itself will no doubt change. So since everyone and everyone's views on things are constantly changing, it's very important to keep up and in contact with our ever-changing world. Be yourself. Believe whatever it is that you want to believe. You don't have to believe one way or another. But when you find something and you make a choice, don't allow that thing that you believe to distract or deter you from living your life. It's all in your mind. It is all your mind. Even these words that you are listening to right now that I'm saying, you don't have to believe any of it. But if it inspires you to live according to your own rules, since really we're all just making it up as we go, let it be that you continue to be yourself and know that you are enough. Thank you for listening, my friend. This has been Jerome Shaw on TOP, the Open Palm Podcast here in San Antonio, Texas. I pray you received an encouraging message from this episode, letting you know that there are many teachings we may receive in life, but it's all our own mind. It is not what we receive, but what we believe that will allow us to achieve all life has to offer. Share this episode with a like-minded individual, learning and growing, becoming their greatest version just like you. Not taking everything at face value, but making up their own mind. Pay it forward so more can hear the message. And if this is your very first time receiving this podcast, give it a subscribe for more inspirational messages like this. And if you feel compelled to support, consider opening your browser to anchor.fm/jshaw and clicking that support link there is much appreciated. Big shout out and thank you to all the wonderful supporters who continue to donate to the podcast, making it possible for episodes like this. You are appreciated. Much love to you. Have a wonderful and blessed day or night, wherever you are, and take care, my friend. Hey there, my friend. So, you've heard about Anchor, but do you know why it's the easiest way to make a podcast? Well, first off, it's free. It allows you to use creation tools that let you record your podcast right from your phone or computer. It also distributes your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more platforms. You can even make money from your podcast with minimum listenership. It's everything you need in one place. Download the free Anchor app today or go to anchor.fm to get started. Can't wait to hear yours. Let's see what you have to offer the world.